Hello everybody, and welcome to the first episode of The Elder Scrolls Online. Now recently I played through Skyrim as a mage-only character, and it was fun revisiting Skyrim. It sort of got me in that mood for The Elder Scrolls. So I found the collector's edition of, I believe, the most recent DLC was on sale, so I grabbed it. I thought, why not revisit The Elder Scrolls Online? I haven't played it in probably really years at this point, aside from, when I got that DLC pack and made the characters to muck around and see what they changed. And one of the things they added was a Necromancer class, so I figured, why not go ahead and make a character for YouTube, and we can explore that Necromancer class, see what's different. I can sort of introduce Elder Scrolls Online to people who have never played it, or are just curious what the Necromancer class adds. Now, I'm assuming since it's a magic-based class, we are either going to want to be a Breton, or we are going to want to be an Altmer. So, High Elf or Breton. Now, I don't remember exactly what the racial differences are, but typically Altmers are considered to be stronger with magic, if I recall. They really should add an ability to check what their racial class stuff is. I'm going to name myself the Magical Yagami, named after the Skyrim character we had on stream. Incidentally, I do have the Imperial class. That's a DLC class. I got it when the game first launched, so pretty much it's designed to be a class that's sort of an everyman, works for everything. Most of its racial bonuses are just increasing. Each stat is its own separate thing. But for now, we will click over to class, and we want to pick the Necromancer. As you can see here, using certain Necromancer abilities in towns is considered a criminal act. It's the only class where you have to be wary of what you're doing in towns, which is interesting. In fact, you know what? Instead of the Magical Yagami, we're gonna call ourselves the unliving Yagami, because I know we're going to be dealing with the dead bodies and whatnot. Okay, so character make and model. First of all, is there a way... I mean, we could do no gear. I don't know how Twitch will like, or Twitch and YouTube will like just having random naked dude, but being that he's a Necromancer, I feel like we need to make him very thin, he's not going to be super muscular, he's a mage. Let's make him a little bit shorter. His skin tone doesn't really matter. You know what, that's fine. Body markings. I think most of these are just like tattoos and stuff. None of the tattoos in the game are really that great. Let's go with scars, just because, he's dealing with a lot of death and undeath. So, torso size, again, we should make him pretty scrawny overall. Like, you can go in pretty big detail of, like, what you do with the make and model of these classes. Like, as a character creator, it's pretty in-depth, which kind of fits what you expect for a Elder Scrolls game. Now let's get a more wide view of this. Feel like with the scrawny thing, he should have no ass whatsoever, so that's fine. I mean, I wouldn't say he looks malnourished, but definitely looks like he could stand to eat a little bit more. I mean, even a Lowest foot size. His foot still seems pretty big. But I mean, I guess that'll qualify. Alright, face, let's give him, I guess, angular. Voice doesn't really matter, I'm just gonna pick voice A and call it a day. Now, what type of hair would, like, a Necromancer have? I feel like it would be very ragged looking. Like somebody that just doesn't care, like something like this. Yeah, something like that'll do. Age, let's make him look a little bit older, but not too old. We add like more scarring to his face. I mean, those little scars, I was trying to get more like that big burn mark on his side there. It's not looking good. You can make him goth. That's something. Evil guy mustache. Seems like it's a little bit on the nose. I need like a beard that just looks like he doesn't give a crap anymore. Like he just can't be bothered to groom himself. He's too busy mucking with the dead. I guess that's as close as we're gonna get, so you know what, I'll take that. None of these are particularly good. It's one problem I have with the Elder Scrolls Online is like, they have this great character creator, but like all the tattoos are pretty tacky. Like there's like head to toe tribal tattoos and stuff like that but there's nothing more sort of subtle. Well, shouldn't need to do too much with this. Make him just look a bit more gaunt. Eye color, yeah, let's go with that. I guess keep that at relatively normal, 'cause sometimes it's hard to not have the characters look completely ridiculous. Eyebrows probably don't matter that much. Is there something that just looks a little bushy-ish? Or just... You know what? That one will work right there. He looks vaguely pissed off. Almost done with the character creation. Nose shape. I think this is just like, yeah, the angle at which it goes. Let's go there. Nose height can probably stay the same. Width can probably get shortened a bit. And length will extend out a little bit. We'll give him a fairly big nose. Mouth height. Probably can go there. Mouth curve. We'll have him just look miserable. Maybe thinner lips. Ear size doesn't really matter because we can't see it anyway under his hair, so I'm just going to keep those as is. And that should be everything. So ideally, you know, this is the type of stuff he's going to be wearing. We're probably going to go in light armor, because there's 3 types of armor. There's heavy, there's medium, and there's light. Medium sort of meant for roguey characters. Light is meant for mages, and heavy is meant for like warriors. So let's create. I haven't played the tutorial before, but it says this even if you played like the original tutorial way back in the day. For the sake of keeping everybody caught up with what's going on, I'm going to actually play through this. Incidentally, I do have a couple of mods installed in this game. Just stuff to mark certain stuff on the map so I don't have to keep looking up where it is. And some minor UI change stuff. Nothing too important. And there's also some other stuff we'll go over as I get to it. Because I've played the game before, I have what's called champion points. And they sort of buff you a bit.
You're awake.
So, first of all, you know, look around. This is just sort of getting used to the controls and everything. What's N? I have a new reward waiting to be claimed. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll claim that one up. It'll just let me get an experience buff, so you know what? I will go ahead and use one of those, because why not? They send them to you fairly often, so there's no real point in holding on to them. So let's take a look at what the Necromancer does, because I actually don't know what it comes with. So we have Grave Lord, we can lob an explosive skull on an enemy, dealing a bunch of damage. Fair. Slice into an enemy's life force, dealing magic damage and healing health. I don't mind that. Sacrifice your own power to repair damaged flesh, healing you or an ally in front of you for a bunch of health, but applying minor defile to yourself. That's weird. Alright, we'll have to figure out those. Now, champion points. There's sort of like perk systems where after you get to, I think it's level 60, you basically, instead of getting normal levels, you get these. Now, for the sake of this playthrough, I am going to actually avoid using these until we get to level, whatever the level cap is. When we get to the point where we can use champion points, normally that's when I will plug them in. Because we're going to need to get new gear when I get to that point anyway, so it's fine. Journal, you know, it's what you would expect. It's where your quest info is. So right now, I awoke imprisoned in a strange ruin. An elf seems willing to help me, but escaping this place may not be easy. Danger lurks around every corner, and I sense that some darkness arrived with me. I spied an elf on the other side of my cell door. I should speak with her. And some of this other stuff is not really important for right now. It'll come into play later. But for the most part, we don't care about it. Collections is, you know, just various stuff that you've unlocked in the game. Again, nothing we need to care about. Map is map. Group is what you would imagine a group is. You know, friends, same thing. Guilds. I haven't joined any guilds. You can have up to 5, and you don't want all of them to be social guilds, because there are certain guilds that exist just for trading. They're like mini auction houses. And I do have a add-on for housing, but, you know, nothing too important. Anyway, we can now continue the game, or at least start the game proper. So let's go talk to Norenwe.
There you are.
Now, there is dialogue, but I don't know if it'll be loud enough, so I'm just going to read through stuff anyway. There you are, on your feet. I know magical translocation can really upset the stomach. Just take a moment and get your bearings, alright? Where am I? The Isle of Balferia, home of the clan Drenai, Durrani. I apologize for the cramped accommodations. We pride ourselves on courtesy, but circumstances here have taken a turn for the bizarre. I needed to make sure you weren't a danger to yourself or others. Can you let me out? You might not be so eager to escape once you hear what's going on. You arrived via a portal, along with a dangerous beast called Shiazel? It seized control of our golems and unleashed them on the island. If I free you, will you help me stop Shiazel? Yeah, set me free in a huff. Okay, she will now open the door.
Just give me a moment. There. That should unlock the door. When you're ready.
So from here on out, you can loot anything, basically. There's a lot you can do in this MMO that you can't do in other MMOs. You have more or less freedom, so this just is an item you can sell to a merchant. We're going to grab that for now. You will quickly find out, okay, we have a recipe to make a drink. This increases stamina recovery. I mean, I don't know it, so I will grab it. But what I was about to say is you don't want to necessarily grab everything you find. Because if I look here, I have 60 inventory spaces. And there is a lot of stuff for crafting. Like, a lot of stuff for crafting. There is no way in hell you can carry it all. The reason why is they want you to buy a monthly subscription to what they call ESO Plus. And ESO Plus is kind of worth it for two reasons. The first reason is that you get access to every DLC that has currently been released. It's just, as long as your subscription is active, you have access to everything. It's only when it's not active that you would need to have bought it. The other reason is you get access to a crafting bag, and what that means is that every crafting material you get goes into a special bag that, to my knowledge, can never fully be filled. Which is great, because when you don't have that, your inventory gets clogged big time, as you will probably see fairly quickly into this playthrough. So we're going around, we're searching all these urns, because I need to find as many lockpicks as possible, because you run into a lot of stuff here that you will want to be picking the lock of. You'll probably notice me ignoring equipment. Part of this is because I'm looking for light armor. The other part is because I am trying to avoid picking up too many stuff, because right now, like, you can break down equipment to learn more about, say, blacksmithing or woodworking and stuff like that, but at this state, like, these items, they're worth nothing, so you don't learn anything either. So there's no real reason in taking something unless you're going to equip it, and we can get gear much more easily somewhere else very quickly, so I'm not in a huge rush to get it. Alright, that looks like we've looted everything that we can, so let's talk to Nornway again. There you are, free as a spring cricket. I hope you intend to keep your word. We'll need each other out there, of that I'm certain. The name is Nornway, by the way, of Clan Durinai. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Where are we headed? We're bound for a place called the Keyrights Gallery, but first I need to know you can defend yourself. Hurtling through the herbis and falling flat on your ear left you a bit scattered. Find a weapon and we'll work out the cobwebs. Fair? Sure, but I have some questions. Of course, I can't promise total transparency, but I'll be as forthcoming as I can. You mentioned a Keyrights Gallery. What is that place? The Keyrights Gallery is an ancient substructure of Balfaria Island, built long before my clan arrived. Why is it called the Keyrights Gallery? On account of all the doors. The gallery is full of ancient gates, each with some arcane connection to places in Tamriel and beyond. Once the gates come to life, rifts open, you fell out of one of them, the Daedra Shiazel emerged from another. How'd you escape? I cast an incantation of the steed, snatched you up, and fled as fast as my feet could carry me. I heard the Daedra cursing, followed by some kind of explosion, but I didn't look back. I hope the gallery is still standing. What are you doing here? Nothing irresponsible, if that's what you're asking. I'm a member of Clan Durinai's intelligence guild, the Cinderelle. More a scholar than spy, I assure you. I was conducting some research in the gallery, then pop, you and that monster arrived. Why were you studying this place? The gallery has always been a place of special interest for the guild, but we never quite cracked how it worked. Despite the dangers, this is our greatest breakthrough to date. The guildmaster will be ecstatic, provided we get it under control. You said something about golems. What's going on here exactly? Would it frustrate you to hear that I have no idea? We Durne are cautious by nature, so the Isle of Balferia has many defenses. Magical stone guardians protect many of our sacred sites, but somehow this Daedra found a way to turn them against us. Can you describe the Daedra, Shazel? Do I have to? If I recall my studies correctly, I'd say it's a harvester, a huge serpentine creature that feeds on souls and magicka. If it finds a way to consume the energies of the gallery, we will be in very serious trouble. Alright, so we need to pick a weapon. It doesn't really matter what style of weapon you take. Some stuff is more suited to magicka, and some stuff is more suited to stamina, because you're going to be either a magicka build or a stamina build. Being that we are going to be a Raiser of the Dead, I suppose it stands to reason we take a fire staff.
Larger weapons like staves and great axes will take both hands.
Let's go ahead and equip that.
Yes, I think that one suits you. If you change your mind,
also, while I'm at it, I forgot to turn on NPC subtitles, so it'll make it easier to see what people are saying when I'm not directly talking to them. Pretty much all she said just then was like, hey, you did good. That suits you just fine. Alright, the water is for alchemy, which I do have. Normally you can't see what the effects of alchemy ingredients is. I do have an add-on that sort of can tell me, just so to make it easier to make potions and learn all the effects. Because otherwise, I mean, you just Google it and do what the Google says, so it's not really doing much aside from saving you time in the grand scheme of things, rather. Ooh, intricate. Okay, stuff that's intricate. When you break stuff down, you get additional experience in that crafting line. Definitely grab anything that says intricate. If you see something that's ornate, rather, it sells for more, so you can get more money. And money is fairly important, because it's how you increase how much you can carry. Alright, that's everything here. She's waiting on us to sort of go into the middle of the circle, but there are some other pots we can check. Now there's a very low chance of us getting like green or better gear, which is why one of the reasons why I'm checking all this. The other reason is there may be crafting recipes and the like if I'm lucky. Like we found one already. Oop, did not mean to grab that, so we are going to destroy that. And pretty much once we go into the middle of the circle, we are going to have a tutorial on how the combat of the game works. Some people like the combat. I don't mind the combat. Some people find it a little on the floaty side. And I can certainly understand why they would have that viewpoint. It certainly takes some getting used to. It's very much based on visual cues, which sometimes you have enough time to react to them, other times you don't really have that much time to react to them. It's a bit back and forth.
This is as good a place as any.
As good a place as any? Now prepare yourself. While I conjure up a dance partner. Let's begin. Quickly, strike the construct. Impressive. Hit it again. Top marks. Well done. Now faster. Brilliant. Ready yourself. Block its attack. Now do a heavy attack when it's stunned. So basically you repeat these 3 times, and after this you are going to have to interrupt a spellcast. The Spellcast Interrupt is super hard to do from what I've seen.
Now some foes will try to restrain you.
So you have to sort of predict when it's going to happen.
Quickly break free. You ready to
And you
break
have to
free?
do like it before it actually does the thing that it is going to do.
Then make ready. Now press your advantage with a heavy attack. Again, hold its attack.
You can sort of see what I mean with the visual cues, like when you see the black or the red sort of lines coming off of it,
Good. Now destroy.
that's when you do the interrupt. If it's yellow, you do the
Well done.
blocking
Don't
one.
speak with me for a moment.
I received a notification. I have not. I don't know what you're talking about. And that gives me the Forgotten Adventurer's breaches. I will sort of explain this thing. So, right now we have an enchantment on this equipment. It has a maximum stamina enchantment. That's you get the ability to put enchantments on items using runes later. Now, under that, you have a special enchantment that can be done additionally when you craft equipment. And this one is training, increases experience gained by kills from 7. Now, you learn these effects by breaking stuff that already has it, so we want to keep that around for later. Also, we have level 2. Now, I am going to assume that we're going to be going Magicka, so I'm going to start plugging everything I have into Magicka. Basically, your choices are plug it all into Magicka, plug it all into health, plug it all into stamina. If you try to do hybrid, it doesn't really work out that well, especially late game. Now, basically every level you get a skill point. You can plug it in wherever you want. It is a good idea to get your main 3 things first, because once you have them, they start leveling up independently. We're going to get Flame Skull, and that's going to go into our tier 1 slot. You see right there, equipping 3 pieces of a armor also gives you that skill line.
With moves like that,
With moves like that, the Daedra doesn't stand a chance. Yes, I'd say we're ready to set out. Where are we headed now? To reach the Keyrights Gallery, we have to make it out of this ruin and across a wide field of golems I mentioned. With any luck, we'll be able to slip past them, but I'm not all that lucky, so I'm sorry in advance. Alright, we'll head there next. What can we expect to encounter in the gallery? Well, it begins with a door, the first of many. The only way to access the gallery is through a mysterious gateway. Once we pass through the initial door, we'll step into a huge vault. This is that part that worries me the most. Why does it worry you? I believe Shayazel, the Daedric creature that's causing all this mischief, may have nested itself in there, so be prepared to fight. Will dealing with Shayazel pacify the golems? I can't say anything with certainty, but ridding the world of an otherworldly abomination can't hurt, right? Its influence might linger for a time, but the golem should return to normal before too long, hopefully. Alright, let's go. And that opens up this door here, so we can continue along. Now, there are some things you can do. Once we can get into the world proper, like, you can do a Dark Brotherhood quest line, which requires you to go to the town of Anvil, which you might remember from Oblivion, and you have to kill somebody. And through that, you can earn the ability to backstab NPCs and kill them instantly to loot them. Okay, here's another recipe, Ginkgo tonic. I will gladly teach myself that. And the murder function can be very useful for building up your money and stuff. I think it also can be used, like, if you're in dungeons and you sneak up behind somebody, you can one-shot them.
One of the stray golems. We might want to
Right. It's going to make me do control to sneak until I actually push the button to do it. You can see that guy off in the corner. We're actually going to approach him, even though the game is sort of implying that we want to sneak down that way. Because he is blocking a locked door, and behind that locked door there is pretty much every armor you could think of, at least at this stage in the game, like early game versions of it. Which means we can get all the quest lines unlocked, and we can get ourselves kitted up the way we need to be kitted up. Don't need to get anything armor-wise right now, though. Also, if I hit him first, I will get a sneak attack. As you can tell, he's not really that rough, so I don't know what she's too worried about. And because we got Gravelord already, that did get a chance to level up. The skills also rank up individually. Once you get to rank 4, you can just outright level that to a different version. We can force lock. We'll look more into that lockpicking game later, because you are going to see quite a lot of it. Because that's how you unlock chests, that's how you unlock doors to get into stuff, and there are quests that require you to sneak into places and trespass. For now, we just want to continue gathering items. Obviously, the more lockpicks we can end up with, the better for later, so I don't mind grabbing a bunch of those. Whoop, did not mean to pick up that. Even though there's a forge here, you can't actually use it for anything. It's just a visual forge, more or less. Okay, first things first. Lightning staff will probably be better than the staff I have. Yeah, just barely, but enough. So grab that. I don't know what I did with the other one. Oh, there it is. Again, this is going to be worth 0, so I'm just going to chuck it. Now, this is the armor we're ultimately going to want to end up with, but first I want to grab 3 pieces of heavy armor so I can get that quest line. So let's just grab legs, pants, and helmet. We'll just quickly equip those. That'll unlock the quest line. Or not the quest line, the talent line. That's another fire staff. Don't really need to get any special thing anyway. Alright, grab these, equip these. And that unlocks the medium armor line. Now for this, we want to basically grab one of everything. So I'm just going to grab everything they have. There's a rare chance you might get something better than a white, but I wouldn't be exactly holding my breath on it. Alright. So 451, grab a belt, grab hands, shoulders, hat, the chest piece, the boots, and the legs. And we can ditch everything else. Now, one thing you might want to do, especially since we don't really know what's going to be best for this particular class yet, is having one piece of equipment be heavy and one piece of equipment being medium will gradually level up those types. So what would be a good heavy? Let's go with heavy boots. And see if I can find, I don't know, medium shoulders. But first we're going to ditch these because, again, they're not worth anything. So they're not going to break down for anything. You'll get no experience for them. You can't sell for anything. They're just taking up space in the inventory. So you definitely just want to trash them. I can't think of any other real use for them, except for this one. You want to keep this one. In fact, actually, you know, we'll use that as our medium, because then we can still get the effect of the enchantment. Alright, that's everything we need from there. So now we got a new weapon, we've got full gear. We've got one of each type of gear, so we'll get all the experience types going. So even if later in the game we decided we were going to go with a medium armor build and we were previously in a light armor build, you know, if they're all at 50 already, then it doesn't really matter. You can swap them willy-nilly. It's just a quick little trick you can do to get yourself leveled up where you need to be for later a bit quicker. I mean, it doesn't really matter. If you get to level 50 and you're on medium armor or whatever and you decided you wanted to swap to heavy, if anything, you know, you just have to gain a few levels to get perks in, but you could use the skill points and something else in the meantime. Alright. Let's continue down this path. Still some more urns and whatnot we can open up, but again, equipment we don't really need. We mostly care about the other stuff. Anything that's just free selling fodder or lockpicks is good. Now, because all your characters are sort of connected via bank, you might notice that when I'm looting, if I can find an example. So right here, you see I have 141 of these in the bank. So I could avoid picking those up if I wanted. Really, I need to empty some of those out of the bank because I have no need for that many. But I'm going to have some items that I have access to from other characters, just because it was already in my bank.
Let's hurry.
More equipment if you didn't get in the room, although obviously more limited. I never noticed that gargoyle before. I don't even think you can access that guy. It's another thing where if you don't do the shift, it'll just stay on the screen. I wonder if there's any way of actually getting over to that. I would assume not. I think that's just for a visual effect. Alright. From here, I believe we can go outside.
Right.
And here we're going to start running into just randomly spawning enemies. I mean, they're always in key spots, but they will start respawning, whereas I don't know if that one that you fought earlier actually respawns. You'd have to be waiting there for quite a while for them to actually respawn. Whereas these ones, they respawn fairly quickish. Like, I've fought one while looting in the area that I already killed before. But at this point, you know, killing stuff is worthwhile because we can gain experience, which increases our quest lines. Or, not our quest lines, our skill lines. I don't know, I am determined to say quest lines. It also will increase our overall level. You might see that under the stamina bar, which is the green one, there's a little yellow bar. That is our overall our overall level bar. So in addition to your skill levels, you have a base level, basically. And I want to say the final one is 60. I might be misremembering. Basically, once you get to that point, you remain at that and you start getting the champion levels, which is why you might see people running around with like a champion level, which is indicated by a star looking thing of like, I don't know, 1,000 something. It doesn't mean you can get to level 1,000, although it does kind of sort of mean you can. Alright, that's all those. Did we already search you? Yes, we did. And I think that's more or less everything we can loot outside here. I mean, just like a normal Elder Scrolls game, you're doing a lot of looting of random stuff. We're going to start making our way down here. You can also kill random enemies, animals and whatnot on the ground. Okay, so far the skull is, I mean, it's not overpowered or anything, but it's okay. I grabbed that. These are fishing parts. You don't really need to collect them because it's pretty easy to get new fishing parts whenever you need them. That's kind of the purpose of those little wild animal things that I just killed. But the butterfly wing is an alchemy ingredient, so I don't mind grabbing that. So the side roads sort of lead to these little loot areas. If you didn't get gear before, you can go here. So if for whatever reason you didn't go for the locked door, which would be understandable because the game kind of tries to make you avoid it, you can grab gear here. Although obviously not as expansive with the gear. You know, instead of all three types all in one neat pile, I think you have one or two styles. So ultimately it is better to go for the other room. But if you haven't gotten anything yet, they're certainly available to you. Damn it. Did not mean to grab that. Okay, all good. Let's go to the other side and get to the area over there. I'm kind of blocking the mini-map with my camera, but I do have a mini-map that just sort of shows the area. It's very vague, like there's only one thing marked on it, which is where we have to go ultimately. But I could always move the camera later if I absolutely have to. I mean, you can see the map, the actual same map by me just doing that, so it's not a huge priority. As long as I know where I'm going, I suppose that is the crux of things. Keep throwing skulls at him. Most of the enemies here won't be that rough, really. I believe stuff that you search is instant, so like if I find a pot that has an item in it, that person you just saw behind me might not have an item in that same place, and also if I loot it, I don't think I prevent her from looting it. So that's nice to know, just in case you run across somebody and you don't want to accidentally like take all their stuff away. This also works with enemies. Like if somebody came up to me and say they needed to kill like 5 of these things, and they see me fighting one, if they just walk up and start stabbing it, I still get credit for the kill, but they also will get credit for the kill, so it'll count towards one of their 5. You're kind of encouraged to just help people as you run across them if you need to, because there are areas where like there's world bosses, and if you help with the kill, you get credit for beating that world boss. You get to loot it. It'll mark its location as white on the map to say that you've done it. There's like world anchors that you need to team up with people to clear and stuff like of that nature. I mean, there is group content in the sense of dungeons that you will need to form a party for. But most stuff you can just sort of pitch in if you see people over there. And I'm sure there'll be at least one instance where we see a thing in progress and we decide to just say the hell with it, we're gonna help out. Alright, level 3. It'll give me a food item. Let's give ourselves more magicka, and we will get the Bone Tyrant ability. I'm not sure which stuff we're not allowed to use in towns. I'm hoping it... Okay, it does say Criminal Act. So basically just conjuring the dead will probably get people staring at us, so remember that. Anything that's marked Criminal Act we want to avoid using in towns. Okay, we need to be closer for this, I'm assuming. Also, you don't actively need to be using the skill for it to level up, I've noticed. As long as it's slotted as one of your 5, it will gain experience. It's the same with, like, how with the armor, we want one of each type of armor at least, so that everything has a chance of gaining experience. As long as you got something slotted, that line is going to get some levels. Now, we can't go in this door yet. This is sort of the final area we're going into. But I am going to loot it now, just so we can sort of rush through here when we do get over here. So far, the Necromancer does not seem overly strong. I mean, I know we don't have much in the way of, you know, gear and stats and everything, but logic would dictate we should have no trouble with these type of enemies. And I mean, we don't really have trouble with them, but I've seen classes kill them a lot quicker as well. The skull seems to be stronger than the other one, although the other one I think is more designed to get you experience. Or not experience, health rather. Okay, nothing we need there. Crabs are worth killing because I can drop an alchemy ability. Unfortunately, he does not want to give me anything right at this moment. There should be an enemy here. We should get rid of him. And any levels you get here, even though it's in the tutorial area, it doesn't matter really, because they introduced something they called Tamriel First a while back, which is sort of like the Elder Scroll mainline games where the world levels with you. It's bad in the sense that, you know, you can never really feel like you're advancing past an area. But it's good in the sense that you can go anywhere and do anything at any time. You're not pigeonholed into staying in one certain area. I admit it does kind of hurt progression when you can't out-level something, especially with, like, you know, the instance dungeons and whatnot. It's always fun to go back later when you're like level 40 and just blitz an area you previously could not steamroll through. Oh, didn't mean to grab that. So that was one of my favorite things to do in WoW, was go back through the dead mines. Completely unarmored, just punching everything to death at like level 60. Because, I mean, people... Well, I don't know what daily endeavors are. I think they give you a special currency, but I don't know what the currency is for yet. I haven't really looked into it. So we might find out of that together. But apparently today's activity was killing 10 skeletons, and we did that even though they don't really look like skeletons, they just sort of look like golems. But I mean, if the game's gonna give me credit for that, I'm not gonna argue with them. Now we've gotten all the stuff outside, so we can go inside. But yeah, that's why it doesn't matter how many levels we gain in here. So you could sit here grinding till 60 in this zone if you wanted to. Like, it won't affect anything. Which, I don't know why you would ever do that, but it's nice that they give you the option. But I do miss being able to do older dungeons solo and stuff like that. Which, I mean, with champion points you still might be able to, but you would probably need a pretty heavy helping of them to actually pull it off. And that's assuming that the world didn't level up with the amount of champion points you have. So I don't know if it cuts it off at like 60 or if it does increase their level every time you boost your champion level. I feel like it, you know, would be pretty easy to become overpowered. I should probably look into that at some point or another. But for now, we'll just figure it out as time goes on. If anybody knows for sure how that works, by all means, drop a comment in the video. It'll save me time looking it up later. And that looks like all the pots and urns and whatnot in here are more or less already empty. Here's one that had something minor inside. Here's another one. Sometimes you'll run into just empty stuff, and it's just RNG luck, more or less. But like every time you enter an area, these things might refresh, so, you know, something that was empty before might have something in it the second time around. You know, the world is always available to be looted. Which is fun when you get to the real world where you can steal things. Because you can basically just haunt a certain house or something and just constantly be stealing from them. There's a certain area, I think it's in Vekelgard, that I would just constantly be stealing from where the bank is. Because there's a lot of places that you can loot while remaining fairly well hidden all in one little area. Okay, that looks like everything lootable, so let's talk to you. Jeffier's Bones, the surge of magicka created by the portals you came through. You must have cracked the Sky Shard. Without a functioning Sky Shard, this gate remains locked and there's no way for us to proceed. Damn. Is there any way to fix it? Unless you have a set of enchanting tools and a working knowledge of meteoric empowerment theory, no. There's nothing for it. We need to find a replacement. Where can we find a replacement Sky Shard? I saw one in a vault just south of here a few days ago, but it was flanked by one of the island's more powerful golems. Normally I'd say we should search for another option, but given the circumstances, I think we have to risk it. Alright, let's find that Sky Shard. Can I ask you something before we set out? Of course, let's not tarry too long, though. What are Sky Shards exactly? Giant clusters of meteoric glass. They fall from ethereals charged with raw and very potent magicka. Mages use Sky Shards in all kinds of rituals and experiments. We Dirni use them as a power source. What kind of golem did you see near the Sky Shard? It's a monstrous sentinel called a gargoyle. I've never seen one fight, but by all accounts they are far more powerful than the golems we've faced so far. Okay, fair enough. We were looking for something like that. These things come in more import later. Generally, as you go through the game, as you collect 3 of them, you get an extra skill point. So we're going to be looking for them fairly often. So now we got to go to that room that I was approaching before that I said we'd be going in later.
The Sky Shard is there.
And that's sort of just a one-room area. Like, we go in, we fight the golem, and then we get out, more or less. Since these 2 guys have respawned, I might as well kill them to try to get that next level up. Because the more functionality we have with our skills, the better overall. There's our level up. And we do get an enchantment, so let's see. We have legs already, so I'm just gonna grab the light legs. We probably won't use that enchantment on that. I can use it on something else. For now, let's grab Living Death as well. So now we got 1 of each thing, so those can level gradually. Now as for you, let's add that to the hat, why not? Now you see that has the maximum health enchantment, we get a little bit of a boost. While I'm over here, I might as well kill you just to get the experience and also to test out this thing. Let's step in here, then I want to double check how these skills work real quick. So the ones we have just lob a skull. Every 3rd cast of this ability deals 20% increased damage. Okay, that's neat to know. This is just a drain spell, I'm guessing. Also, for each additional enemy hit, that's neat. Sacrifice your own power to repair damaged flesh, healing you or an ally in front of you for a bunch of HP. Alright, well, I grabbed this one just for the sake of leveling this tree, but I don't know if I will use this one too often. So I probably don't want Defile on me. I didn't see what the Defile does, but I would imagine, since it's being presented as a negative counter effect, it's nothing you really want. If anything, it probably limits how much healing you get after the fact.
There it is, the Sky Shard.
Now, let's kill this guy and grab the Sky Shard. There's some other stuff to potentially loot in here afterwards, but it'll be easier once he's gone and we don't have to worry about him anymore.
Get out of the way now.
So you'll see that he has like a little gem next to his life bar. He's a harder than normal enemy, basically. They rank up in tiers of 1, 2, and 3. 3 being like world boss type, these being just general mini bosses. One's not bad at all. 2 can be annoying at times, and 3, I don't even know if you can solo 3s. I mean, I'm sure it's not impossible with the right builds, but goddamn, they are rough. Alright, so we've absorbed that. We won't be able to really use it until we're done with this area, because you do... I think you're meant to get another skill point for it. But I don't know if it counts currently. Yeah, it doesn't count as a Sky Shard till you're already out of here. And then I can't remember if it gives you a skill point or if you do need to find 2 more. I feel like it gives you a flat-out skill point, though. And that's everything we can loot, I'm pretty sure, so let's just move on. We gotta go back to that disabled Sky Shard we saw before. Always check these things in case they have a special effect, because you're going to want those for learning crafting effects later. I believe you have to get through this. It's either get to level 5 or get through this area. Okay, green item. It is light, so we can use that with no negative effects. I mean, it wouldn't necessarily be a negative effect beforehand either, but at least this way we don't lose, like, the amount of light armor we have. So that'll give us some more stamina, which is not the best enchantment for our class, because mostly everything we're using is magicka, but I mean, if it's a boost better than just nothing, you know, why not take it? Unfortunately, it doesn't have anything we need to break down later, so... Ha, you did it. Let's speak for a moment. Alright, we gotta wait for her to catch up. I think she's downstairs. There she is. I'm afraid we've reached the really scary bit. The Daedric creature responsible for all these portals waits just beyond that gate. You have any other preparations to make? Make them now. Do you have any advice on how to slay this thing? Again, I'm just a scholar, but I'd encourage you to remember what we practiced before. Keep moving, strike true, and exploit any opening the creature gives you. I mean, this isn't really any worse than the golem. Even though it has a big fancy life bar, it's pretty much the same difficulty. This is mostly just designed to, I guess, teach you about damage areas. You can see how there's little circles and stuff. I think she heals you, honestly, as you do this, so you have to basically try to die here. Alright, no worries there. This gives me the Heirloom Necklace, which also gives me a buff, and I don't believe we have a necklace yet, so I'll put that on. And this has one of the learnable things. You can make jewelry, but you'll probably want to find something better than that before you break that down. Because jewelry seems to be harder to find the effects for, from what I've noticed anyway. And I think that is everything in this room. I don't think there's too many pots or anything. No, okay. Let's move on to the next room. And this is sort of the last area of this dungeon. So only a couple urns and whatnot to scan over as we go down. Another thing you might want to get into the habit of doing is so all these bookshelves can be interacted with, and they're full books, you know, you can read through them. There's a chance that they will teach you a skill, so you always want to be checking bookshelves. Even if you're not sitting there reading through the entire book, just bringing it up like that and walking away will, if it is going to teach you a skill, it will teach it to you.
Let's get a closer look.
It's a good way to get quick level ups on, like, you know, the crafting trees and whatnot, where it would otherwise take you quite a while to build up the levels. Unfortunately, not teaching me anything at the moment. But they are pretty RNG heavy of which one treats you. Ooh! A purple pattern. Interesting. I'll definitely learn that one. I believe that's making furniture for one of the housing. I will take a mozzie recipe as well. Yeah, that's everything on this side. We do want to check the other side just because there's more bookshelves, more pots that we can check. Potential for more, you know, crafting recipes and stuff of that nature. Okay, there you see. We just got alchemy leveled to level 2 without even making any alchemy potions. We also unlocked the skill line by finding that, so you don't even have to have the skill line already. If a book is going to teach you something, you will learn it regardless. It's not going to be too much left to loot in here. There's some pots in this main room, I'm assuming, and then from there, it's just the end of the line. I don't know if, like, it keeps track of how many things you looted, and if you've looted a lot, suddenly everything's empty or not. It would explain why certain things are just never filled and other stuff is just constantly filled very early on. But it might just be that certain stuff has a higher chance of being empty than other stuff.
Perhaps not all of them at first, but enough to reach most of Tamriel. The question for you, I suppose, is where...
Okay, so that brings us into this main room here. We're gonna have to talk to her. Now, this room is interesting because before, when you finished one of the tutorials, it was always like when Morrowind released, you had a tutorial based around the Morrowind area, and then once you finished it, you were thrust into Morrowind proper. Whereas this one, you're at a room with many portals, and these portals can bring you to a multitude of places, like, now we get... can we not see what they are yet? We might not be able to see what they are, but basically, you know, there's the start of many DLC areas, there's the start of the 3 mainline places, you know, stuff like that. So, like, for example, one of the areas is Western Skyrim, and that is the area right near Solitude, and it looks just like you might remember, but, you know, there's going to be changes, obviously, but, like, if you walk into Solitude, it will look like the Solitude from Skyrim. You know, you still go up the steps at the beginning to get to the blacksmith and stuff of that nature. Can you believe this? Just look around. With this arcane helix exposed, the chamber is positively crackling with magic. The Keyright's gallery has come to life. And I finally think I know why. What do you mean? Why did it come to life? Because of you! Matters in Tamriel are bleak. War rages in Cyrodiil, Daedric princes conspire, dragons ride the winds of elsewhere. The Second Era needs a savior. I believe the gallery, perhaps even the Adamantine Tower itself, chose you. What do you think I should do next? The Keyright's gallery opened doors to every corner of Tamriel, places I suspect that desperately need a hero's aid. The choice is yours to make, but wherever you choose to go, I'm sure adventure awaits. May the stars protect you. Okay, we get a box, a skill point, and a skill line for soul magic.
So, have you chosen where to
Now,
go?
soul magic is how you fill soul
Most
shards. So
Not
it's,
everyone gets to pass
you know, it's
instantly
like
from one side of
soul
town
drain
to
and stuff in the
another.
other games.
This is quite a gift.
So you have chosen where to go, or so have you chosen where to go. What region of the world strikes your fancy? Not everyone gets to pass instantly from one side of Tamriel to another, you know. This is quite the gift. Any thoughts on where I should go? It's a bit overwhelming, isn't it? The whole of Tamriel stretched out before you. We could start with the political considerations. 3 great alliances vie for control of Cyrodiil. Does the fate of the Pact, Covenant, or Dominion interest you? Nah. I don't blame you. Interprovincial intrigue is the basis of my whole profession, and even I find it tiresome after a while. I suppose then that widens the map a bit. Where else could I find adventure? Well, as I said before, threats of Tamriel have grown like weeds practically everywhere. Would you prefer to spend time among the Elven kin, the Khajiit of elsewhere, or men of the north and south? So basically, each of these tells you a little bit about one of the DLCs. You know, for example, according to our spies, the land of the catfolk is in sorry shape. Imperial holdouts sit upon the throne, and a rage of dragons spilled out to the halls of Colossus, burning everything in their path. If it's adventure you seek, you'll find it there. You mentioned elves too, where can I find them? If you take the gate to Vardenfell, you can meet the Dark Elves and maybe even their god King Vivek. You could also travel to Somerset Isle, our ancestral home and the primary seat of power for the High Elves. Is there work to do in Somerset Isle? Always, though the natives don't make it easy. High Elves of Somerset don't share the Dereni's pragmatism. They're often too proud to ask for help, but our agents reported some strange activity around the Crystal Tower. It's probably worth a look. Can you tell me about these realms of men you mentioned?
Certainly. One of these gates appear to go to Western Skyrim.
Certainly.
A hermitical kingdom of Nords that
One of these gates appears to go to Western Skyrim. Her hermitical kingdom of the Nords led by King Svargrim. There leads to Blackwood at the southern tip of Cyrodiil. Imperial remnants rule there. What's happening in Western Skyrim? The Nords of Western Skyrim are inhospitable, to put it lightly. Even so, we've been able to glean a few things. I've read reports about increased vampiric activity in the region, never a good sign. They need stout adventurers to deal with it. So basically, you know, you can repeat this. It tells you about the different areas, basic synopsises of them. We're going to say goodbye for now, though. Let's go in our skills. We can drag, where is it? Let's drag this over here, so if we do get empty soul gems, we can fill them up real quick. And that remains of what do we want to give him for that other skill point? I mean, we could get one of these. We can get blast bones. Summon a flaming skeleton from the ground after 2.5 seconds. The skeleton runs after the target and explodes when it gets close to them, dealing a bunch of damage. Creates a corpse on death. Okay, interesting. Bone armors sounds okay. Well, that costs health to use. You remove negative effects, but you also the cost of your abilities reduced when you use it. I mean, I kind of like the idea of that one. You can also use this stuff as well. But for now, you know what? I feel like if we're going to use a Necromancer, we might as well do it properly. So you know what? Let's grab Blast Bones. So now we get to decide where we want to go. We got the Blackwood. This is the newest DLC, by the way. Just double checking these as we go past. I'd imagine most of them are going to be empty at this point, but it's always worth taking a peek just to be safe. Because, I mean, as you saw, you know, you can get some fairly rare crafting recipes in there. Canarthi's Roost is one of the 3 starting areas in the normal game, as is Stros Mackay. Oh, there we go, another design. Grab that. I don't really need to get the... each crafting style has its own item you have to use to craft. It doesn't really matter if you have most of them, but I can always sell them later. At least grabbing them will make it more obvious that we've looted that thing, so I don't need to worry about trying to remember if something's been grabbed or not. Okay, that should be everything in this room. So here we have Bleak Rock Isle, another one of the starting areas. We have Vardenfell, which of course is Morrowind. So if you're a fan of the old Morrowind game or just you like the look of that area, that's a good place to start. It's, I think the first DLC that they released was Morrowind. I could be mistaken there. Nope. Can't get through there. It's weird how you can sneak under one, but not the other one. And on this side we have Western Skyrim. As I said, that's where Solitude is. Somerset Isle, which is the High Elves area. Elsewhere, which is the Khajiit area. So yeah, you have a fairly large selection of options to go with. I will probably go with the most recent DLC. It doesn't really matter. I could also go with Elsewhere because I haven't explored that. Somerset Isle, stuff like that. It's debatable because, like, I've already. If you explore a new area, you get housing as part of like a quest line. I've already been to grab the house in the newest area while I was doing testing. I have not been to Somerset yet, nor have I been to Elsewhere. So there is a debate of me going there, but I can always do that later on a different character, so I'm not too fussed. Let's just double check that there's no remaining pots. Here's one. I mean, we've ended up with 40 lockpicks, so that's not bad. 42 so far. Which sounds like a lot, but if you're not careful, you will go through them pretty quick. And the way the lockpicking works, it takes some time to get used to. Didn't mean to grab that. Once you get the hang of it, you will probably never mess it up again. But until you get the hang of it, you will probably mess it up constantly. Alright, that seems like it's everything we need to do, so... I think I'll stick with this. We go into this world, so once we enter here, we cannot come back to this area. Seems this portal leads to Blackwood, on the southern border of Cyrodiil. I read an intelligence report about a series of high-profile murders with links to the region. Daedric mischief, too. A warrior like you could do some real good there. Travel to Blackwood and start the Gates of Oblivion storyline.
I knew I felt something strange, like glass shattering in the distance.
Murdered, and so close to the city gates.
And here we get a
Keep your
little
voice down.
sort of like
Start a panic?
previously on this episode, preview of things to come,
Too
basically.
many times dry skins have come to our swamps in
Sort
an
of
attempt to
meant to
claim
show
them.
you the area.
These Imperials seemed no different.
I had a vision of a shadowy figure. It was a robed and hooded cultist. It was brief and powerful, over in a moment, but the figure felt evil.
Now, who are these cultists? And how well do you trust your masters in Leowyn?
It's all very interesting, but we'll obviously get more detail on those as we talk to people. I believe if you choose to go a different spot, like it spits you out in a different spot. Like, I feel like if there was a tutorial specific to this area, you would have come out of here normally, whereas other spots where there was previously a tutorial did spit you out at various places. So as you can see, this is a pretty wide area. I can see where quests are to pick up later. I can see like things where when I was doing my testy run, when I looted something like a mining spot, I would mark it on the map, stuff of that nature. So let's talk to you real quick. You look like you got your wits about you. Gotta make a bit of extra gold working for Leowyn's Ivory Brigade. I've been asked by my captain to find someone who can handle themselves. We need help with a delicate situation. What's the situation? Deadly secrets, assassins, murder, and now apparently a counselor has gone missing. Between the war, bandits, and cultists, the Ivory Brigade is like the Nord that tries to plug a leaking cask of mead, only to realize he doesn't have enough fingers. What do you need me to do? Talk to my commander, Captain Ryan Lior. You can find him just outside the city gates trying to appease some of the nobles. Tell him I sent you and he'll put you right to work, I'm sure. I'll go speak to Captain Ryan Lior. Okay, while we're here, you can just sort of see this beam of light here, and you can see that on the map there's a the Sky Shard marked, so we want to grab that before we go anywhere else. And unfortunately, unlike the one in the tutorial area, if I can get up here, this does not automatically grant you a skill point. You have to find 3 of these. But if we look at the map, you can see here, there's 18 total in this area. You can see where they are on the map, so we will eventually make our way to grabbing all of those. And each area has, you know, specific group dungeons. That's what these are marked. There's other public group dungeons that you can just, if you're careful, you can get through them solo. I've done a few of them. Some are harder than others. But we'll wrap up this for now. We'll come back next week to sort of officially begin our trek through the Blackwood area. But, you know, so far, Necromancer's okay, I suppose. I feel like it's going to be a little bit of work getting him to the point where he's significantly strong. But for now, I feel like he's okay. And hopefully, you know, some of the stuff like summoning skeletons and whatnot will prove to be pretty effective, if not just fun, you know? But, like I said, we will see you again next week. Thank you very much, and, yeah, have a good weekend.